Hello students, welcome to my lecture series for animal ecology from the class FY/BSc Zoology. Myself, Dr. Sangita Bhamare, S.V.K.T. College, Deolali Camp, Nasik, from the Department of Zoology. I am going to start the animal ecology syllabus with the chapter first, that is Introduction to Animal Ecology. So before going to start this animal ecology syllabus, we must know what is environment and why to study environment. Why it is so? Because this term ecology relates to environment. In fact, it is the part of the environment. So first of all, we will talk about this environment and why we must have to study this environment. So what is this environment? So environment is nothing but the surroundings, all the conditions in which we all people are living, we all organisms are living, including the person, some animal, plants, microorganisms, etc. So this is the simple definition of environment. Means the surroundings or the condition in which the person, animal or plant lives. Why to study this environment? So why we must have to learn this environment, or what is this environment? So we saw the definition, right? So our environment is very important to us because it's where we live, we share the resources with other species. So here what we do exactly, we explore the things, we exploit the things from this particular environment. So due to increasing human population and the anthropogenic activities. So anthropogenic activities means what? The man-made activities. So we always compare this anthropogenic activities with the natural activities. So today we all are facing the problems which are created due to this man-made or anthropogenic activities. So human population and anthropogenic activities which are actually responsible to degrade these natural resources and ecosystem. So we have to conserve our environment. So how we can conserve this environment? With the help of sustainable development. We must have to plan about the sustainable development. We must have to discuss about the sustainable development. We must have to think about the sustainable development before exploring and exploiting the things which are available or which are surrounding to us. So today we are going to talk about this ecology. Means what is ecology? As we saw, it relates to the environment with the different terms which are included in this ecology, that is Introduction to Ecology. And here I am going to talk about the overview of the second chapter, which is nothing but the ecosystem, in which the various types of ecosystems are included. So let us start with this Introduction to Ecology. So remember here one thing, that in Introduction to Ecology, which is the first chapter from this syllabus, so different terms are included, right? So before going to discuss about these terms, we must know from where this definition, this term is originated. So remember here you can see this photograph of one discoverer, one scientist, which is Ernst Haeckel. So remember here this term ecology firstly proposed by Ernst Haeckel in 1869 and which was later followed or utilized by the scientist Darwin. So here ecos means household or the place where we live and logos means study. So simply how we can define this ecology? Ecology means the place where we live, or it is the study of place where we live. So the classical or this definition of ecology you people can see here. So it's the study of interrelationships or relationship, especially between the living organism and its surrounding. So here living organism, you people can take the good example of human or human population, right? So study of this relationship of humans and their physical environment, right? So this is the simple definition of ecology. So what we study in ecology? Here we study the relationship in between the human population. Here I took the example of human. You can take any example of any organism, any microorganism, any plant, etc. right? So it's the simple study of relationship in between the organism and its environment, right? So actually here we just try to understand the vital connection between plants and animals and the world around them. So with this relationship or interaction, whatever which occur in between that particular population, particular group of the organism and its environment, we also try to understand what are the exact connections or vital connection in between these plants, in animal and its surroundings. So question arises, why we people are interested in the study of this ecology, or what exactly we are going to achieve after the study of this ecology. So here some objectives I have enlisted. So first objective of the study of ecology is, so here we are going to define and introduce the general principles of ecology and its relation to the other sciences. Right? So what is the principle of ecology and what is or how it is related to the other sciences. So here we can take the good example of the life science. So we can connect this life science and ecology like this. Okay. So photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is one of the important metabolic activity which is covered by this plant. Means plants are responsible for this photosynthesis. So plants which are available in the environment, which are the part of this ecosystem, etc. So this plant depends upon the environment for the purpose of photosynthesis. We know it very well. By photosynthesis, plants are able to prepare their food material. So plants soul are able to prepare their food material, this is okay. But we know this thing that it completely depends upon the environment, means solar energy or sunlight for the purpose of photosynthesis. Means suppose solar energy or sunlight is not there, there will be no mechanism of photosynthesis, right? So here we can understand or we can learn how this ecology is related to the life science. So here I took one example of this life science. You can take any one example of physical science, chemical science, etc. Okay. So if you are talking about the chemical science, then you can take the soil chemistry or study of the soil. So we know in soil various minerals are there, various microorganisms are there, etc. So here first objective is to define and introduce the general principle of ecology and how it is related to the various sciences as life science is there, chemical science is there and physical science. Now what is the second objective? Second objective is to explain the concept of tropic structure and the flow of energy. So we know it very well that flow of energy is as per the tropic structure. So question arises, what is tropic structure? So tropic structure means what? In tropic structure, in the pyramid diagram of flow of energy, which starts from the producers. So what happened in tropic structure? Tropic structure, the flow of energy starts from the producers, right? So producers which are responsible to create this energy. Then next, what happens with this energy? This energy is transferred towards the consumers. So in that particular energy pyramid diagram, we people can see, or in that particular tropic structure, we can see this energy is get transferred from this producers to the primary consumers to the secondary consumers, and lastly it goes towards the decomposers, right? And we know this thing very well that from decomposers or this decomposers are again responsible to recycle this energy, right? So this is the concept of tropic structure and the flow of energy. The next objective is to discuss the principles of evolution and behavior of organism. So we know it very well, the behavior, then the various activities, adaptation, succession and mutation, right? So all these physiological, biological activities are responsible for the evolution. So how this behavior of organism, then this physiological activities like mutation is there, succession is there, adaptation is there. So all these things are responsible for this evolution. So that concept of evolution, that mechanism of evolution, that we people can understand very well with the help of the study of ecology. Then next to this evolution flow of energy, etc., we can understand the structure of population, which is nothing but the particular group of organism, right? So with the help of study of ecology, we can understand or we can describe the structure of population, the growth of population, the density of population, as well as in that population, how these organisms show the particular type of interactions. The next objective is, with this population growth and density, we can also study or we can also try to understand the concept of community. So community ecology will be well understood with the help of study of ecology. So how it is? Because in community, the various or different group of organisms are living togetherly. So with the help of the study of ecology, we can understand this concept of community with its diversity, then habitat, the various changes which occurs, etc. Then also to introduce the resource and management, conservation and sustainable development. As at the time of this environment definition, we saw that how we people are responsible to explore and exploit the things from the environment. So due to this, what happened? The all natural resources are going to degrade, in fact vanish from our environment. So we must have to study about the sustainable development, the conservation of each and every natural resources. So with the help of this study of ecology, we will try to learn, we will try to analyze the things related to the conservation and sustainable development. Then lastly, we know that due to this different pollutant or different types of pollutions, like water pollution is there, soil pollution, sound pollution, how each and every part of environment, including human, are going to affect. So with the help of study of ecology, here we will try to introduce some methods which are related to the waste treatments, waste management, etc. And also we will try to study how this relationship in between the pollutant or different type of pollutions to the effects of the human health, or how it is responsible, how it affects the human health. Now we turn towards the actual part of our chapter, in which the various terms are included. So various terms which starts from this term environment. In previous slide, we have already seen the perfect definition of environment, why we must have to study the environment and all this thing. So here you can see environment can also be defined as, it's the natural world for example land, air and water, in which all organisms like peoples, animals, plants, microorganisms are living. So it is the surrounding or condition in which animal, plant lives or operate. So this is the simple definition of the environment. Then differences between ecology and environmental science. So very little difference you people can see in between the term environment and ecology. Remember one thing here, ecology term relates to the environment, or ecology is one term which originates actually from the environment. So how we can distinguish in between these two terms? So what is ecology? It's the specific branch of environmental science which focus on interaction between organism and their environment. So here limited type of study we people can see in between the organism and its surrounding. Means the study or analysis is very limited one. But in environmental science, what happened? Here you can see the interactions between the all conditions or all factors. Which are that factors? Biological factors are there, or biological components are there, some physical components are there, and chemical components. So in environmental science, there is an interaction in between all components, means biological component with its chemical component, with its physical component, etc. So in case of ecology, what happened? Only the single type of interaction we people can see. So which are that single interaction? Only in between the living organism, means the particular population and its environment. So this is the difference in between these two similar terms which are actually different from each other, ecology and environmental science. Next term included in this first chapter is the population. So what is population? So many times, actually this is the very well familiar word, human population. You might have been heard so many times. So how we can define this population? So it's the number of all organisms of the same group or species. So the number of organism or the group of organism which belongs from the same species living in a particular geographical area and are capable of interbreeding. So here two terms are important, two factors are important. So what is that? They belongs to the same species and they are capable of interbreeding. So this is the definition of the population. Next, a related or you can say similar but quite different term is the community. So community usually we people know or whatever we know about or whatever we heard about this term community. So according to us, it is nothing but the social unit or group of living things which relates or which are from the same religion, with the same values, with the same customs and same identity. But remember, ecologically, this term is totally different. So how we can define this community? These are the group of organisms or different group of organisms which share the same habitat. So here you can see the difference between the previous term which is the population and the second term is the community, right? So similar thing is what in both terms, group of organism, right? This is the similarity in between these two terms. So group of organisms are living in a particular area. This is the similarity. But remember, the major difference is in population, same type of organism means which belongs to the same species in a particular area and they are capable of interbreeding. While in community, different group of organisms are living in a particular area. So very good example of community is the forest, right? So in forest, what happened? Plants are there, animals are there. Not only plants and animals, but we know this thing that different types of plant, variety of plants are there and variety of animals are there, right? Means carnivores are there, herbivores are there, decomposers are there, etc. Means various or different kinds of birds are also there, like vultures are there, etc. So this is the difference in between this population and community. Next term is ecosystem. So it's the specific geographic area where plants, animals and other organisms including weather and landscape. So you have to remember when you are going to define this ecosystem, you just have to remember the specific geographic area, right? So whatever the organisms, whatever the biotic or abiotic components which are living togetherly in a particular geographical area, that is nothing but the ecosystem. So I use these two important terms, that is biotic and abiotic. Remember, without these two factors, there will be no completion of the ecosystem, right? So what are these biotic and abiotic factors? Biotic factors means we people are the part of biotic factor, means all living organisms. Plants are there, microorganisms are there, animals are there, etc. All these are the biotic factors. And these biotic factors, we know very well, depends upon the abiotic factor. Which are that abiotic factor? Atmosphere or surrounding. Whatever the important gases like oxygen is there, nitrogen is there, carbon dioxide is there, etc. including some elements, right? So these are nothing but the abiotic factor. So in one line, I would like to say you that remember this biotic factor, there will be no identity of the biotic factor without this abiotic factor. The next term is the biosphere. So what is biosphere? Biosphere means the Earth's environmental sphere. Whatever the Earth you people have seen in pictures, in reference books, in textbook, etc. Right? That is nothing but the biosphere. So how we can explain or how we can define this biosphere? So it's the global ecosystem. What is it? It's the global ecosystem composed of living organism, means the same biotic and abiotic factors. So all biotic and abiotic factors which are living in this global ecosystem, we called it as a biosphere. Scientifically, or you can say technically, biosphere shows the different parts, or it is made up of the different parts. So what are the different parts? It includes the atmosphere, it includes hydrosphere and it includes the lithosphere. So togetherly with atmosphere, hydrosphere and lithosphere are working for the construction of this pair called as a biosphere. Then next and last terms which are included in this first chapter, that is ecology and psychology. So what is mean by ecology? It's the study of the single organism in a, which is nothing but a single type of species in a population in respect to the natural habitat. So suppose you are going to select a single organism from the population, okay? So that time, that study, that analysis will be known as a ecology. For example, you are interested in the microorganism. You are interested to select, to analyze, to study the pseudomonas, right? So then what you will do? You will select the single colony, single organism pseudomonas from that particular petri plate which suppose are isolated from the soil, etc. That will be the ecology, means the study of the single organism from a particular population, from the particular natural habitat. Opposite to ecology, what is this psychology? Psychology means the study of group of organisms which are from the different groups, means different species suppose are there, means suppose variety of plants are there and you people are interested, or anyone suppose is interested to analyze the two plants, to analyze the difference in between this two group of plant, etc. Then that time that study will be known as a psychology. So major difference in between ecology and psychology is what? In ecology, there is a study of single organism, while in psychology, you can study the group of organism or different types of organism according to their natural habitat. So these are the questions related to this chapter first. You people have to solve it in the form of assignment. I'm going to upload this assignment on Google Classroom. You have to complete it accordingly as per the schedule. So first question is, what is ecology? You have to discuss the various terms as I have discussed, like community was there, population, biosphere, ecology, psychology, etc. So this assignment you have to solve as per the schedule. Now some part of this chapter 2 I am going to discuss here briefly. So chapter 2 is ecosystem. So definition of ecosystem I have already discussed in previous slide. So what is this ecosystem? It is the specific geographic area. As I said earlier, you just have to remember, or you just have to consider the particular geographic area where all organisms are living. So it's the specific geographical area where plants, animals and microorganisms are living togetherly. So scientifically, ecosystem, according to the type of organism, the landscape, etc. or environment, is divided into two major types. So what are the types of ecosystem? First is the aquatic ecosystem and second is the terrestrial ecosystem. So this is the chart where you can see the various types of ecosystems, right? So first is the aquatic ecosystem and second is the terrestrial ecosystem. So water dwelling organism, whatever the organisms are there which are living in water are included or the part of this aquatic ecosystem, while land dwelling organisms are considered in this terrestrial ecosystem. So here in aquatic ecosystem, which is again divided into two major parts as per the quality of the water, right? So first is the freshwater ecosystem and second is the marine ecosystem. So many times freshwater ecosystem, or you might have been heard this term, this limnology. Remember, freshwater ecosystem most of the time is also known as a limnology. Marine ecosystem, again according to the type of water, this marine ecosystem latter you people can see is divided into different types. Then terrestrial ecosystem or land dwelling organism, as I said, which are included or which are the part of this terrestrial ecosystem. So forest ecosystem is the first one included in the terrestrial ecosystem. So where we will try to understand the environment or the organisms, which type of this pyramids, flow of energy, etc. occurs in the forest ecosystem. Then second is the grassland ecosystem. So here again we will try to learn or understand which type of organisms are there, which type of plants are there, and accordingly which type of animals are there in grassland ecosystem. Then mountain ecosystem, actually which is not included in our syllabus, but introductory part related to the mountain ecosystem we will try to understand. Then desert ecosystem. Desert ecosystem, remember, is also important one because it is totally different from this previous two, means forest and grassland. So these are the types of ecosystem. So detailed ecosystem we will try to understand in next lecture. Aquatic ecosystem. In aquatic ecosystem, I am just telling you which part we are going to learn or which part I am going to discuss in aquatic ecosystem. So it's the water-based ecosystem, as I said, and where you can see the area of water in which the significant biological activity can occur, right? It means all water, study of all water dwelling organism is nothing but the aquatic ecosystem. So aquatic ecosystem can involve these two types of water, flowing or still water, can be fresh or saline. So types of aquatic ecosystem. So fresh water, as I said, limnology. So here lentic and lotic, two different terms you people can see. Lentic water system, lentic fresh water system, and lotic fresh water system. So what is mean by lentic fresh water system? So here still water is there, stagnant type of water is there. There is no as such movement you can see related to this particular water. It is just in stored form. So good example is the lakes and ponds. Then second, lotic means free flowing fresh water system. So good example is stream, river, etc. Then groundwater is also one of the type of the aquatic ecosystem, and one specialized part which comes in this aquatic ecosystem is the brackish water, specialized and also interesting one. So brackish water system is also called as a estuaries. So what are estuaries? We know it very well. It's the simple combination of sea water and river. So accordingly here the different kind of flora or fauna can be seen, or different kind of biotic and abiotic factors can be seen in this brackish water. And marine water which is totally different from the fresh water. So all these types of ecosystems related to fresh water, groundwater, brackish water and marine water. So details of this we will see in next lecture. So few characteristic features of aquatic ecosystem. Accordingly, it has been observed that three group of organisms are there. So which are that three group of organisms? Planktons are there, nectons are there, and benthos are there. Remember, these are the type of organisms which are divided in this particular aquatic water system. So what are planktons? Free floating. This is the simple meaning of plankton. So which are the free floating organisms are there in this particular aquatic ecosystem? So two types of free floating organisms are there. Some plants are there and some animals are there. Suppose animals are there, then that time we called it as a zooplanktons, and sometimes plants suppose are there, we called it as a phytoplanktons. So this is about the planktons, zooplanktons and the phytoplanktons. Then nectons, especially at the middle zone of this aquatic ecosystem, then nectons can be seen. So what are these nectons? These are the organisms which seem actively in open water. So sometimes they depend upon the water current, or sometimes they are independent to the water current. Then last, a different kind of organisms are the benthos. Name itself indicate these are the bottom dwelling organism. So it has been observed that these bottom dwelling organisms of the sea or ocean are often attached to the hard surfaces, which we called it as a rocks. So these are the three different kinds of organisms which we can see are dwelling, are living in the or survive in the aquatic ecosystem. So these are the parts or terms related to this ecology which we people have learned today are. So first of all, we saw the environment from which this term ecology belongs. Then second, we saw the ecology We people saw the difference in between environment and ecology. The next term was the population, community. Again, we saw the difference in between population and community. What is biosphere? What is ecosystem? What are the different types of ecosystem? And few or brief ecosystems we people have discussed here, or the types of ecosystem. In next lecture, we will talk about the types of aquatic ecosystem, its detailed structure, composition, organization, etc. Thank you.